says it's on YouTube. Can we start? Call the meeting order of the Board of Fire Commissioners of North Greenbush Fire District number 1. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence in memory of the deceased firefighters in the district. Roll call.
Rich, Ian,
Here.
here, Brian, here, Dave.
Here.
All right, all the commissioners are present. Dave Wilson is joining us from Nevada on Zoom. It's a historic moment for the fire district.
Thanks for everybody working with this.
Yeah, and congratulations to Dave on becoming a grandfather. All right, public session will be at the end of the meeting. If anybody watching live stream has anything, you have a public comment, send the email into the address listed on the website, and it'll be addressed at the end of the meeting. Fire District Committee for WFD Building Upgrade. We have our chairperson of the committee here, Joey Casino.
I don't have a whole lot. I just wanted to do some reviewing. And Bob, and then-
Hold on one second. Dave, can you hear Joey?
Somewhat.
Why don't you want to stand up here?
No, no. Dave. I don't have. Dave, you always gotta be a. You got district money out there, putting it on black. I just got a few short things and just review what Bob and I have been working on in the last, 2 months. The phone issue seems to be resolved right now and I shouldn't even say nothing because it's working right now. I think, Bob, without exaggerating, that's been 6 weeks, maybe on and off, something like that. And I know there was like a stretch of maybe 3 or 4 weeks that it didn't work at all. So I don't know if the district wants to look into that billing with Verizon. I don't know if you can do anything about it or just even heartburn about it. And I know that you probably did.
They are giving us.
Okay.
It was a Verizon problem, though,
Yeah, it was Verizon problem. The wine and skills is all lead and they don't want to replace any lines over there because the infrastructure is not large enough. So, I mean, that's it. Keep on getting the story. We get even on Hidley Road, so the phone system, the doors are fixed again over there with the door tracks and everything. They're going up and down like they're supposed to be. The hose dryer was installed. I did find that cord, Bob, so I didn't need any material. And then Nikki just got that one transition. Thank you for getting that, Nick, and putting it on, you and Ronnie. The generator's been upgraded and serviced, so that should be good for until it doesn't work anymore, but it should be good. With the results that we had from that, we got all good ratings from that. The only thing that I would like to look into, and I don't know if we can do it or not, is with that generator over there, and I don't know if they can do it to Wi-Fi or not. Because when that section of wine and skill goes out, the other section might not. I don't know if with Wi-Fi, if they can transmit that to someone's cell phone like Bob and myself, so we know that thing is energized. I don't know if you guys have it here or yours. No? All right. Maybe it's not worth looking into then. What else we got going on here?
I'm sure that thing's running for more than a couple hours. We'll hear about it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if it trips in the middle of the night, what I mean, like it has in the past, so. I think the only other thing that I was asked about at one of our meetings is the windows, the doors, are all those on schedule to get cleaned in because it was supposed to get done once a year, right? The cleaning of the windows, the apparatus doors.
I brought that to the board
board last year and they said hold off.
Okay,
Yeah, I wasn't sure where, I thought we had held off because we weren't sure where the cycle of any of the repairs rehab was gonna be, so we said, we'll play an ad hoc.
Yeah, and I think the justification also was that nobody was in the stations at that point, and that's why they held off, so. I
Alright.
just waited.
maybe in a fall or something like that, we might be able to get them clean.
Makes sense.
All right,
Well, do you want us to just, I mean, that's like routine maintenance. I don't think you need board
Okay.
approval for that. I just think when you want it done, you're call Bob and schedule
all
it.
right, because you were gonna coordinate with this station too, right?
Yeah, well, you have, Derek does your windows upstairs.
Right.
He just doesn't do the apparatus phase. Nothing's been done here at the Freestone. It's getting there.
So what would be the best time of year to just get on a cycle to have both
I don't know.
stations done at once?
What do you think, like,
Express when we used, because then it was open house.
Yeah. all right,
Well, I don't think we got
No,
to decide
no,
now, but I think, why don't you guys just figure it out for both stations and when you're done?
I'll get the quotes updated. Because I had the quotes, actually, I still have.
Yeah.
Wait, so we usually get prices from two people on it, so I'll get prices.
But I think if you decide you want it done before the next meeting, I think that's
well,
just
no,
a
I mean,
routine
I
thing,
don't
right?
think you, I'm just bringing it up now because it was brought up in our meeting.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, I mean, even if it goes later in the fall or like this spring, like Bobby said,
All right,
as long as they get done. because
so yes,
they are-
it'll get done.
They are getting kind of ratty looking,
All right,
you know?
good.
And the only other thing is we're just, we did get another meeting with Ed, or we had the initial meeting with Ed for the station upgrade, and we're just waiting to hear from him. So whenever that may just take him a while to get all that stuff put together, and we can have another walkthrough, whatever he wants. He's got access to the building, I guess, so if his engineers have to walk through it, they can.
All right.
But I think that's, I mean, it's in line, it's in the works, so been working on it.
All right, does anybody have any questions for Joey? None? Dave, you got any questions for Joe?
No, just thanks a lot. He's been doing a lot of work on getting things ready, so I appreciate it.
All right,
Play that roulette black, buddy.
all right. Joey, thank you, and please extend our thanks to your committee members. Department President's Report. We have PJ joining us remotely as well. It's good to see you, PJ. He did submit a report and it's in Dropbox. Do you want to highlight anything, PJ?
Like that, we had two building requests, one for American Red Cross for Saturday next month, and then October 9th, we'd like to use the pavilion and the building for like a family day for everybody to come in and just say, you know, hey, we made it through COVID just before school starts. You know, and then we also have one member that is looking to become a mutual aid member. And we submitted all the paperwork, the background check. She is nationally certified with firefighter 1 or whatever they call it now. And I believe all the paperwork was submitted. Bob Ewing put a packet together. And just thank everyone for their prayers and stuff. I am recovering and I'm going to be here for a while yet. So thank you.
Well, thank you, PJ, for joining us. So I got the building use forms here. I actually have three. One, like you said, PJ, for the Family Members Day. One for the American Red Cross Blood Drive, and then Windsor County BPS requesting a user for a meeting. So I'll pass these around. Does anybody have any questions on the building forms? Does anybody feel the need to see them? All right, so what's that?
No, it's not Dropbox.
Yeah, they're in Dropbox. And then the member, I have been communicating with the chief, Bob and Terry on that. And like you said, PJ, I think everything's in order.
There's a new member plus the writing.
So
member. There's
who's
two.
PJ referred?
He's referring to somebody totally different.
So this is a brand new member.
Correct.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have two different things then. Okay. All right, so we'll get to the new member under that section of the meeting. And then I think for the riding,
Sarah is the full DFD member. The riding member is under his report.
okay, my apologies, I got, when you said they were already a firefighter and all that, I was getting mixed up. All right. Right, all right, entertain a motion to approve the building use for the 3 functions here at DFD. Made by Rich, need a second, by Brian, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. WFD President's Report. Was anything submitted?
No.
All right. Are you aware of anything, Mark or
I think there's
Joey?
I think there's one new member over there that had a cold, but I did paperwork on it, so.
All right, so nothing for WFD. Approval of the prior month's minutes.
I read them over, they didn't get order.
All right. Any additions, deletions, corrections? All right. I'm going to abstain just because I was not here. We have enough people to approve them without me. Entertain a motion to approve. Rich, Nick, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Have the record show that I abstained. Treasurer's report, Sean.
The folder with the bank reconciliations for your review and initial sign off on. Treasury report, the general fund, our reconciled balance as of July 31st, $67,564.75, $791 worth of interest, $8.43 worth of interest for the year. The money market account had a reconciled balance of $811,542.39 of that amount. $443,506 in the general fund. $153,500 for this capital reserve equipment. $212,150 in capital reserve building, and $2,200 for capital. The money market earned $7.28. The subsequent pages are copies of the bank reconciliations. Correct. And then there's also a list of all the checks that are paid out. Checks that were paid out of the general fund during the month of July. Check number 204. And then the last document is our expenditure.
Any questions for Sean? All right, with no questions, entertain a resolution to accept the treasurer's report. Made by Brian. Dave, come on, we'll give you one all the way from Nevada. You want to second it?
Second.
Seconded by Dave. Roll call.
Rich, aye. Dan,
Aye.
Nick, aye. Brian, aye. Hey.
Aye.
Hey.
Resolution carries. Thank you, Sean. Approval of the current month's invoices. They should have been in Dropbox.
Nick reviewed them, the total was $68,455.91, and then we did, then we just received a voucher from Nick for work done on the hose dryer, which is probably gonna abstain from the vote on this $100 one. But we all got the total of $68,455.91.
All right. Any questions on these bills? All right, entertain a resolution to approve. Made by Nick. Need a second. Brian, roll call.
Brian. Aye. Nick.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Rich. Aye. Hey.
Aye.
Resolution carries. And then
Then one for Nick's team for $100 for work we did on the.
okay. Entertain. All right, resolution made by Rich. I'll second it. Roll call.
Rich. Aye. Dan.
Aye.
Brian. Aye. Hey.
Aye.
All right. Resolution carries. Correspondence received. Bob?
Yes, received a letter from the DFA grant program. The award does the $3,000 for the forestry grant. Keybank FDIC insurance assets ending at 6/30 and 7/30. We also received correspondence from East Greenbush Fire Department regarding the insurance settlement where this district will be refunded from a wall that Freesville had participated with from East Greenbush Fire Department. And we received the check from Rich French for $99.99. It was for a phone upgrade. Given to the treasurer.
All right. Any questions on the received correspondence? And then sent, Bob?
It was an email that was sent by Commissioner French to the prospective purchasers of the old 9-7. It's correspondence to the Pleasantdale Fire.
Okay. Any questions on that? Sale of 9-7 or anything? All right. Old business, the virtual meeting AV equipment quote for DFD and WFD. This is something that came up a while ago here at DFD's company meeting to just upgrade some of the equipment to enable us to have more efficient virtual meetings. We brought it up with each president. Even though the fire district facilities, we wanted input. Both the Wine and Skill president and the DeFreestville president were supportive of this. We were going to do this a month earlier, but I know the vice president over here had some questions about the equipment, so that we didn't do it right away. But now we're looking to move forward with that. The quotes in Dropbox. $961. Bob, do you want to just give like a brief, kind of what it is that we're getting?
So this is going to be a tabletop microphone camera unit that will be powered through the USB into the device, such as, just an example, if I was going to use this laptop, then I could use the laptop and just use the microphone and the camera device to record and audio for the meeting. It's going to be better than the camera and the audio microphone that's in the laptop and give it a little bit more versatility as far as where you want to set it up. We got the longest USB cord you can get with it so that it doesn't have to be married directly to the device. And in the instance here with our lectern and over at Wine Skill, they can actually tie it right into the system and put it on the projector if they so desire. So it's, it's not a high-end unit, it's not a Walmart unit. Schools, educational institutions, governmental agencies use the unit that we're purchasing.
Great. This will be good for, I think there's gonna be a lot of things that come up, not just COVID related, but you want to meet with an out-of-town salesperson, vendor, consultant, a training class, whatever. So lots of opportunity, and this is an expense that will be paid for by the fire district. So entertain a motion or a resolution rather to approve the purchase.
I'll make it.
Made by Brian, seconded by Nick. Roll call.
Brian. Aye. Nick. Aye. Dan.
Aye.
Rich. Aye. Dave.
Aye.
All right. Resolution carries. DFD overhead door window tinting. Bob?
Yes, I was requested by the board to start getting pricing. I did. It's in Dropbox. Don't think we're ready yet to make a decision. I would like to be able to consult with our architect on this. The Tint World and Tint King The products they're using, I'm not so clear on exactly the type. I think we're gonna need some guidance for the board to make an informed decision on the type of film that we would use on the windows. American Sun Control uses a 3M product, and that I might think that's where, you know, the recommendation may move forward, but I don't want to prematurely give that recommendation other than let's get the architect to weigh in on this for us. It is a big expense. We want to do it right the first time. And I know that Ed Anchor has worked with American Sun Control in the past doing, you know, buildings, facilities, and he spoke very highly of that. But this just gives you a little range of the pricing.
Is this pretty common that windows like that would have to be tinted?
Well,
It's just, it's a pretty expensive.
It is because in the specifications, when we built the fire station, all of the glazing has a low E component to it, except for the overhead doors. The overhead doors, it was half-inch insulated glass, but it did not have a low E component in it. I think that even if it had just that alone, like the upper portion of the lights over the overhead doors, and you can stand out and look at it, and you can see that it has low E. So it has UV and heat protection on the glazing, but of course.
And is the main,
doors are clear.
is the main concern the sun shining on like the gear, the
Yeah,
air
it's-
packs, the,
It's everything, really.
And we took a piece of colored construction paper, essentially, and left it and taped it in an exposed spot on the center console of, I guess it was the old headset. Overhead surface. And within a month, you compare that to a piece of the same paper that has been sitting in a drawer, and remarkable difference in the fading. And that's gotta be, you get big gear and everything else in there. So I was.
well, no, that's, I mean, are we seeing, I know like we had the concern with the Skull Saver, but are we seeing damage to gear and equipment and stuff like that?
We are,
Okay, that's all
yeah, we are, and from, you know, from what little the architects have weighed in on this whole CSR any group is that you're gonna have to do something.
Right.
Fortunately,
Well, I think if you're seeing it in the gear and all that, I think that's one thing. That construction paper, no offense, I don't put a whole lot of weight into that. I mean, I just see even in a school on a bulletin board and an interior hallway with no windows, you put up construction paper and like a name tag over it, and you take it down in a month, it's faded and you can see the difference.
I get what you're
You
saying.
know what I mean? But if you're seeing damage to gear and stuff, that's,
and even
Dan,
more important,
one second, Dave, go ahead.
even more importantly, on the UV protection, it's the heat protection. So there's a lot of heat that's coming through that, depending on the type of product that you move forward that you use, it's gonna cut down 50% of the heat that comes in. And that also is damaging to the products.
And is this anything we need to do at WFD?
No,
Also?
because those windows on the overhead doors, they do have UV and heat protection, and they have the low.
Dave?
we had a problem with it ruining gear on the side windows on the where the truck company parks. And it was actually to the point where the shoulder on the same, in the same spot on all the gear on that side, you could actually put your finger through it. And we haven't had a problem since it's been tinted. And it's a
Good.
little tiny slot window, so I think it's a worthwhile purchase.
Yep, no, I concur. I just wanted to. If it was just a Skull Saver and that was the only thing that we were seeing damage in, you can buy a lot of Skull Savers for $13,000. But if it's gear and all that, that's money well spent. And I think checking with the architect to see what they recommend is, if we're going to do this, you want to do it right, not necessarily go for the cheapest one. So,
The only thing I would check on is the cleaning of that, how you clean with it, because I don't think you can use a chemical Windex on them. I think it's more of a base water cleaner, but that's something we should check on.
all right,
It's in the specifications of whatever product we use.
okay. So no action needed. Bill of sale for the old 9-7.
Well, I've got, we'll start approving the full sale, Terry, I believe, has looked at it, approved it. I looked it over, I didn't see anything wrong with it. I gotta get it to the guys at Pleasantdale. They've agreed, obviously, to continue, going through the purchase. Their commissioners meeting is tomorrow night. They've essentially approved the sale or the purchase. I guess they had to do some kind of permissive referendum as well, or they had to wait, they have to wait till tomorrow night to take some kind of action as well. But tomorrow, their action is more, okay, how are we gonna move the money around to do it? It's not whether they're doing it or not. I spoke to their chairman of the board yesterday. He's gonna contact me. He said he figures they'll approve it, they'll approve how they're gonna move the money around tomorrow. Someone will go to the bank Friday and actually do the movement, and they'll get a hold of me early next week, and we'll actually do the exchange. Bob was gonna take it for a quick spin. Did you?
I did.
Did it already?
If you notice, it, about specific.
Yeah.
The calendar reading was 6666.6.
So we said we weren't gonna give it to him.
No.
Just something about that, we couldn't.
Yeah.
So he took it for a quick ride to get it off of that. We'll.
All right. So do we need to vote on this? All right. So is this something I can sign tonight?
Doesn't need to be signed.
Well, it's got a spot for my signature on it.
Oh, all right, all right, doesn't need to be signed on our, I'm sorry, yeah. Yeah, you can sign it on our.
I mean, just, we don't need to wait till their board acts, right? They change their mind, just rip it up. All right. Okay, new business, DFD surplus of SCBA and equipment. Just pulling up Dropbox here. So we've got the inventory disposal form filled out, just a variety of equipment. So entertain a motion to declare the items as noted as surplus and authorized for disposal.
Make the motion.
Made by Brian, seconded by Nick. All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We already have a plan for how we're going to dispose of all this.
Pretty much all of it can go on auctions international. We have a lot of stuff to go. So, yeah, we all.
All right. Department chiefs reports. We'll go with, we'll just go in order here, Brian, or William.
Just have purchase orders that are submitted over to you guys. Two of them for 6,000 PSI steel bottles. I believe that's gonna be $3,100 for two of those. Two of ours failed out during the testing. So we need to replace those, obviously. Looking for Milwaukee tripod lights, two for the utility truck and one for the first response, just for additional lighting. Also be helpful for the fire police, just have some lighting when they're standing out there in the middle of the night. Put up signs too. New gas meter to replace the 10-year-old one that we have. It's just starting to, the sensors are just past its life, so it's served us very well. And calibration gas are out at the moment, so we need that for our calibration machine in the officer's room. DFD and WFD are looking to do a joint purchase for turnout gear for coats and pants. We will be later in the year doing like driver's gear. We still have to get that squared away with fitting for people for that. The fire prevention supplies for surplus paperwork was obviously just done. DOT camera access, we were able to get access from DOT with the help of Mike Lashman. We have access to cameras at 443 at Washington Avenue, cameras that sit out on Interstate 90. The access is important because when DOT shuts off the camera to a major incident, the public can't see it. This way we have access to keep the feed running. So the guys are coming in the station, they can look up on the monitor and see, you know, wherever the accident may be, if it's in those corridors, back to those seem to be our high volume areas, serious accidents. You guys can look at the camera and see, get a little gist of what's going on at least. So, we may need help from, who does our Eclipse, just to see if we can work our way out to have that set up on the screen so we can deal with better. Yeah. Requesting for use of this station for the IFO class. We did the BFO class before, and this is the continuation of it. So it's sometime in September. They haven't finalized the dates yet because the instructor's still working with Assistant Chief Mark Galgan, getting that all squared away. You guys, I sent you guys an email in regards to a person who wants to do mutual aid riding. He's out at the Lansing Fire Department, so I'll have to get him to get the paperwork signed at scope of his chief. He's a member in good standing. He has his fit test and he does wear the SCBA similar to ours, or he does have a stop SCBA. Also, is it possible to look into an iPad for car 3, the one that we have? Won't take any more updates and struggles to hold the charge, and especially this time of year when it gets hot out. My iPad starts, the battery power just gets crushed when it sits in the sun. That one's just a very low iPad. Also, just one request from the commissioners is like within the next year or two is to look at possibly the replacement of the utility 9. That unit is 15 years old. It was a cheap car and took on its role as a utility truck for us. It's starting to rack up some expenses with just obviously normal wear and tear. So it's just starting to show its play.
William, which iPad did you say?
Car 3.
Oh, car 3. All right, because yours is brand new, isn't it?
Yes, mine's brand new. We went to go download a radar app because it's summertime and all the storms coming in. Wouldn't take anything because
Yeah. Is that one of the original ones?
I think it was one.
Yeah, that's ancient. So you have that request in here? I don't.
I didn't get a quote or anything for that. I was just.
All right. Well, they kind of are what they are. I mean,
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
yeah.
That would be good for my report. I don't know if you have any comments or questions.
I know we're gonna get to Mark's, but the iPad, I think yours are the same. They're basically all purchased at the same time.
The one I have is the same one before I have.
So do you use it?
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, if it's used, if we're gonna replace them, so do you want to replace that now, or do you want to?
Probably would be a good idea to replace the old now. They'll be upgraded.
Okay. So I would just suggest we make that.
We haven't purchased the 4 iPads that were approved last month just because I'm working with AT&T, the county, and looking at some other options, and I can speak to the chiefs and hold on that. So if you approve to purchase 2 more, we haven't purchased the other 4.
Okay. Now, are we looking at? I was not at the last meeting. Are we looking to get away from Verizon for these?
It's just, there's a different program out there through the state and that the county's using that I wanted to explore some options and come back because of coverage, cost.
Gotcha.
So it might be something that the board may say, let's try it with those 4 iPads.
All right.
And see how it is.
Okay.
So
So I think our intent would be to replace those 2, but let's just kind of see how this all shakes out. Does that make sense?
I can get quote, additional.
Yeah.
Those quotes, and then we have that ready, but, the reason why I didn't pull the pin on that yet is because there's a lot of things happening with the county right now that may be advantageous for the board to hear before we just go.
Yeah, they're looking to do it for combine some of their stuff in the first net, right?
Right. And we're
I
being
mean,
told,
FirstNet is an all like AT&T product.
I don't know what FirstNet is.
FirstNet's the state contract emergency supplier for telecommunications. So it gives, like, if AT&T had a customer and we were a FirstNet customer and there was a shortage of cells, we would have precedence over a regular customer.
Gotcha.
Similar to Verizon. Okay? It's just that the coverage in North Greenbush with Verizon and AT&T, clearly AT&T is far greater than Verizon right now.
Better.
Unless you're on main app.
That's
Unless you're on main app.
the
yeah,
one mistake complaint I was heard was AT&T.
I have AT&T and I don't know what they did with it. I used to have great service and for the past, say, 2 years, I got one bar and it's terrible.
On main.
On main app.
And I have Verizon in my neighborhood. The cell phone's barely usable unless you have an extender or something. So,
It sounds like it's going great this.
yeah.
Now with everybody.
All right.
So anyway.
So
I'm
we
just
will
saying-
replace them, but is it something that can just wait until we get all this situated
Well,
for the
for
two
me,
chiefs?
it's gonna need to be because
Right.
I got.
That's
much
fine.
to do with
So
it.
yes,
Yeah.
to the two chiefs, yes, we'll replace them, but it might be a month. All right. Any questions for William on these purchases? Some of these are the same for both departments, so why don't we well, the fire prevention, let me just ask on that. I see it's the same exact quote for both. So are we just ordering the same stuff for Wine and Skill and DeFreeseville?
Lionsville came forward with their quote. And then I reached out to the chief at Freesville and said, you know, you're gonna wanna get your stuff together pretty soon because I've already heard from King Bone Steel and some of the other suppliers that it's taken a long time to get the products. What the Freesville looked at Lionsville's order and said, can we just double that order? They're happy with doubling the order. So that's kind of why you see that it's.
All right. No, I just was confused because when I was looking at DFDs, it says Wine and Skill Fire Department on the Maltese Cross and the.
I understand that.
That's what I was, I thought, my,
That's changed, and if you look at King Bone Steel's quote from Brunswick, advertising specialties, the stuff from Alert Wall has been changed to show.
all right, I'm just, what are the blazers for both departments?
I usually try and get everybody dressed the same when they go up.
Yeah, t-shirts or whatever, yeah,
Yeah, Eddie put it together, I'm not exactly sure, I haven't get a chance to talk to him. Probably just a lightweight blazer, something to throw over the top.
okay,
The fire department.
all right, and then DFD is gonna do the same. So you already got the sizes from WFD, so you're gonna obviously do get sizes and stuff, I mean,
Yeah, yeah, I mean, we have an old list, but we'll have to modify it a little bit because some people shrink it.
well, some of us expand too. All right,
Plus it also works with our video.
Yeah.
Came in too, so we got.
well, I'm not opposed to it, but when they're $19 each
Yeah.
versus t-shirts where you just kind of guess and order a bunch of sizes, I think it's wise to actually
Oh, I understand.
get this, and then pay on each one a little bit, for both of you. All right,
But I said a question.
yeah,
One question, the fire safety backpack kits, I'm probably supposed to do it, I didn't see the order or anything. Is the intent to get those up to the kids at the schools?
Yeah.
Because my question, I guess more from Chief Burkhardt is, if you're going to do this at Belltop, you're about 140 short. I don't think we have those currently saved away. So if you're going to do this for Belltop, the same fire prevention plan, you get one of that, because there's more than 300 kids in Belltop.
they're just over, not that many more.
It was close to 4 less than I remember. But
They're a lot lower, they're smaller than I am, and I'm at 380, but yeah,
some
Dan's got the inside.
that's right.
We're catching up with it.
But I would just really get the numbers that.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you got enough, but also like, if you don't need 500 or something, I would just really get what you need, so.
also prepared for good Parker, the other schools.
Right.
in town too, so that's.
Yeah, well, that's it, yeah. I could give you that count tomorrow if you want, if you email me at school.
We get it out ahead of time.
Yep.
And we're not even sure what school we're gonna do. We may get to the same in a couple months, or just dropping it off again. So we don't
Yeah.
know what we're
we're trying to get ahead of it.
Well, I know we're trying to like do more of these things, so I think we'll get a positive reception, at least up here. You know, we may have to do it outside, but. All right, so why don't I pass these around? Mark, you want to go through yours? So for the board, I'll pass Williams around that he just explained, and then if you got other questions, and then we'll pass Mark's around.
Well, the first thing you guys got, Dave, about tonight was our accident review for the incident during the storm. Brian was going into M&T Bank and they decided the ambulance was going by, but he had enough room. But two tiny scratches at the wrong foot inside, no real solid damage. That's completed for it. About that down here, the BFA grant come through for paperwork and submitted for that. We're looking to purchase 2 more submersible pumps. We've already got 2 or 3 that we had. So we tried to look at fixing them during this last storm, just didn't work out. So we're replacing those 2 for $990. I got the fire prevention supplies. One other one that I said submitted in that Bob's going to be doing, has to do some background checks on it. Pricing some tools and stuff, adapters and stuff going for 2.7. We took a check for free spill. They don't have any that we're looking for. We don't have anything over there. And now it's complete some of the odds and ends on the truck. But that won't, you won't see that until next month. Bob's got to take it. And last thing I have here is the Swiftwater rescue boat. We submitted again, $4,990. I think it's a little bit less now looking at it. Just to go into that a little bit, we had our chiefs meeting this past month. The car 1 and car 2, both mine, the Freesville and Commissioner Wilson are on the committee to take a look into it. And we checked into one of the things that we're looking to do is take an upgrade the boat to the ice rescue for the fire department. And we found that it's very, very quick to deploy. Very easy. Takes you more than a couple minutes to take it, fill it up, goes right off the Scott air bottle, and you can take it and handle it, go right out. And what we also found that it's quick to deploy versus the plastic skid that we have right now, which is very heavy and bulky. We also found that, especially with postal kill, can be used for multiple uses. Chief French was there during the flood. He knows that they use it there. Craig was also there. They were able to use that to take and slide in, people in and out. So it's got multi uses to it. What we agreed on was that we feel that probably the best thing to look forward to upgrade the ice rescue equipment, and as well as some of the other odds and ends. At this time, we're just looking to get the phone on board so we have it. Well, it's posted.
So I think there's going to be some questions on that item. I know I've got some. I'm not necessarily opposed to it, but I do have some questions. But let's focus on these other ones. Does anybody have any questions about the other purchase requests from Mark? All right, I'll pass these around. Questions of the DFD ones that went around? All right, so I'll entertain a resolution to approve both the wine and skill and DeFreeseville purchases we'll have a separate discussion on the rescue boat. Made by Rich, need a second. Made by Nick. Roll call. Aye.
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 David?
Aye.
All right. Yep.
426 and Rescue 42, the reserves bank completed by Garrison. The only thing that we didn't do, Bob and I were looking to get the pump test done, but with the creek as high as it was, and as filthy as it was, and having probably put 40 to 50 feet of suction on the truck to get it to work, you know, it just wasn't feasible to take it to. So, I mean, that's something we need to do. That we need to do it down the road. The conditions are a little bit better, or send it to Garrison and they can test it down there. So
that's the only thing that wasn't completed. A week ago Saturday, on the 7th, we had the car safety scene inspection with the New York State Police and Rensselaer County Sheriffs. They did approximately 10 to 15 checks on different car seats and installations and stuff like that. So it went very well. 97427 were on display yesterday at Joe Bruno Stadium as we originally planned. They were there from 4:30 to 6:30, 7 o'clock. We did have some people come over and look at the truck like that, but it was nice. We put it right out in front of the entrance. We had enough room so people could walk right through and get to look at it. So it went pretty well, I thought. The only other thing, just to make you guys aware of, a couple weeks ago on a call, Bill Miller let us know that 41 Franklin Avenue, there's an issue with the residents there. Apparently they had Skill and Electric from the National Grid that broke the meters up and had it jumped. And upon further inspection by Bill Miller, found that half the floors were missing, all the floor joists were out of it. You know, in the whole house, they have no idea what's going on with it. So right now, anything that happens in that building is a do not enter.
Did the town post it? Like,
I believe they did because they did tag it again. They post they tag it again. I'll double check the bill on that, make sure. It's the one that brought to our attention.
All right. Anything else, Mark? All right. So with the boat, we're actually at a good spot because the first standing committee report would be apparatus and equipment needs, which ties along with this. So I had a brief conversation with Dave Wilson, I think last week or the week before, and I was not at the last meeting, so I apologize about that. So I may have missed some things, but I just kind of want to get some things clear in my mind. I know from a historical perspective, a little over a year ago, Dave brought up the potential need to purchase a boat due to Snyder's Lake. Had some informal conversations with the town supervisor, looking at possibly some type of inflatable like a Zodiac, storing it out there. And I think we left it as get a group together. Dave could kind of chair it. Report back, see what you say. But then we never really got any reports or updates.
Right.
And then I just heard that this came up last month. So I guess it's a couple things. I'd kind of like to know, is this in place of the other boat? Is this going to be a second boat? So I just think, well, hold on one second. I just think we need a little bit, I mean, this is a pretty big initiative. And if we're going to do something, we want to make sure we're not just shooting from the hip and we buy what we need and what's the safest and what's the best, but that we also have, I think, a plan in place. So not just to buy it, but what's the training, what other equipment needs to come with it? Are these two boats? I think we need kind of a little, and I want to turn it to Dave first. Can you just kind of tell us where you're at and what?
Let me give you the idea.
And I'll just preface this. I agree. I do think I said it a year ago.
We were kind of ahead of ourselves on putting the purchase orders in, and we kind of realized that. And we had our meeting where we laid out everything, what we've gone through. The banana boat raft was an addition to the ice rescue equipment. It was one of the things that they practiced last winter on the lake with Posa Hill, DFD, Averill Park. The guys that did it thought it was a nice, safe feature. It really worked well for what they were doing. They found it a lot easier and it deployed nice. Posa Hill's had theirs for quite a few years, and it's the same one, and they've had some use with it. So between the three departments, that's more or less our ice water rescue group. So they've been working tighter together. Now they're putting together, and I know Mark was working on it with the other chiefs, mutual aid box, how you're going to call people in, procedures and everything else. So they're still working on that part, but the yellow craft that they're talking about ordering now is in addition to the ice rescue equipment. The purpose of the committee was to look at open water And we looked at the town supervisor and said, Jesus, one of the ideas guys had was put a garage up and throw a boat in there. And then if we just got 2 chief's cars there, or a chief's car and a police car, somebody can get in the boat and get there. But then we ran across the idea that, well, what if it was at Valeni's gravel bank, at one of the big ponds up there? Or what if it was at a retention pond on the developments that we're doing? And not that they're that big, but there is big water that we do have. So we looked at that angle and said, well, that's really not going to help us. So then we came across the idea of what will we do to get it there fast enough and deploy it. Well, boat launches aren't necessarily our best friends. If we had a launch at the town beach or at the boat launch, we're still going to have to go all the way to like the trailer park to get to where we want to go. So with the idea of the Zodiac style boat was that we could pull up and literally drag it off with the right amount of manpower and put it in the water right at the spot. So that's where that's kind of heading, but we're not there yet. We want to touch them. We want to look at them. Mark and myself took classes out to Syracuse this past month, and we met with a couple of guys, asked them questions about it. What's the best idea? We've looked at the idea of the flat panel boats. We've looked at the Zodiac boats. The guys that do water rescue like the Zodiac idea because you can roll somebody onto it versus bringing them over a hard side. We're talking like a 14-foot type of boat with a trailer, something you could drag off quick enough. We're still not there yet on that. The liability issues that I've been looking at for quite a few years is, why would we need it? Well, Snyder's Lake, large ponds, the gravel bank, wetlands, it may be more of an ice rescue equipment type of thing because the yellow craft banana boat will work in shallow water too, where maybe the Zodiac wouldn't. We've got the town beach, we got daytime programs. I don't want to be sitting there as a commissioner and having something happen on Snyder's Lake and we're standing there with rope bags. We have to have something besides commandeering a boat to help out. If it's a recovery thing, most likely it's going to be the troopers. If it's a hazmat spill, which we've had out there, we may have to run booms out and kind of encapsulate the spill and let the crews come in and clean it up. So there's enough uses for the boat in different situations. Like I said, we've beat up every answer that we've been given from Argos and all sorts of types of boats and floating and driving things. This seems to be the most feasible item to look at right now. There's a place down in Connecticut, which we'd like to take a road trip to. They have all different versions of it because not only do you look at the Zodiac, but the handles on it, where the handles are located. We need to get more knowledge on that.
So, there's 5 of us here, so obviously people are gonna want to speak. I don't,
Sure.
Again, I think this warrants a serious look. I
Yep.
just think we should make sure we're going about this in a little bit, and I don't mean this negatively, but in a little bit more organized fashion. I think kind of similar to when we bought the last 2 pieces of apparatus, we kind of had a needs analysis. We had options. This is what we're looking at purchasing. This is why it's a good fit. I think it would be good for you to put something together. What the need is, we're spending taxpayers' money, what the need is, why we need it, the different options you've looked at. I'm not a boat expert, but you looked at an Argo, you looked at a Zodiac. What are the pros? What are the cons? What's the recommendation? But what are the other expenses that go with it? Is there annual training required? Is there equipment required? And I think, when we just kind of get a purchase order put in, it kind of muddies the water, no pun intended.
Well, the purchase
Without
order was for the ice rescue equipment. It was an
Right.
upgrade
That's
on ice
kind of
rescue.
where I was, but that's kind of where I was confused. Do you know what I mean? So these are 2 totally separate things.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we got to look at those as 2 separate things.
Can I speak?
Yeah.
Nobody on mute? You hear me right now? Dan's got to do the volume down. All right, now
I hear you, Rich.
Backfeeding through Dave's. I'll just unmute.
I can't hear Rich at all.
Here, just use this one. Okay.
I like the idea of separating the two. The ice rescue rapid deployment craft is not a boat. And I think
Right.
that's part of the confusion from last month. And it's further fostered by the fact that we got a purchase order this month for ice rescue boat. It's not a boat. So stop calling it boats. It's a rapid deployment craft for ice rescue. Has to do with an ongoing operation we do, the district does with ice rescue. Its need, I don't know that it's been fully discussed by this board, but clearly the Wynnesville chief has talked to a few others and they seem to think that that's the best way to go. I don't know that I don't know that I'm 100% ready to say, yeah, I completely support that. I would lean that way because my understanding of the technology that's out there, that's probably one of the best ways of handling rapid deployment craft like that for ice rescue. I just don't know enough about it yet. I'd like to talk to some of the experts over at State Fire in the Special Ops Bureau over there. That I mean, they teach this stuff constantly. They're constantly being they're constantly working with the vendors that are out there. They know what the latest technologies are. They know what some of the failure points are. They know what some of the high points are. I think we do need to do a little bit more research there, but not a lot. But now that we're drilling down on something with regard to ice rescue, I think we're in a position to do that. The second point I want to make, and it's been said a couple times, and I hope I don't offend anybody here, but I've heard a couple times, both last month when I had to chair the meeting, and I was kind of chairing the meeting and trying to take things in, and you know, I heard that we've had the meetings and we've discussed this, and then I heard it again tonight that the committee met and we discussed this, and after the last meeting, I went back and asked Bob to clarify something in the minutes. And he clarified something from the October, I believe it was October 2020 minutes, where you did appoint a committee to do this. And the committee was 2 commissioners, Dave, myself, and 4 chiefs, 2 car 1s, 2 car 2s. I have yet to be asked to go to any meeting to discuss this, any meeting, all right? I am aware, in talking to the 2 DeFriesville chiefs, that a week or 2 ago, they got a phone call about a meeting that would start in a few minutes to discuss the boats. Could they come on over? So, you know, I don't know that we're putting the right amount of thought behind it. And as you said, needs analysis, feasibility study, what exactly is needed. Dave rattled off a great list of water in the community, some of which I hadn't thought of. All right, some of which I hadn't thought of. But I was sitting there thinking about the biggest body of water in the town. That's the Hudson River. So it's also got to be something that's got to be feasible for use there as well. And no, I don't believe that we should be saying, well, that's Albany and Troy's problem. It's not. It's North Greenbush. And anybody that throws out there that it's the Coast Guard's problem, that's good because they're coming from Kingston or farther south. So or we're going to stand there on the shoreline with our rope bags until they get here from Kingston. That's going to work even less than it does down at out of Snyder's Lake. So I think we need to look at all that. I think we as you said, we need to have that deep look in this because in the end, we're going to spend a lot of money on this. And I think, I've heard people, oh yeah, we could do this for $20,000 or $30,000. We may be able to. My gut tells me no. And in the end, we're going to have taxpayers wanting to know, why are you spending this money? I've had firefighters from both fire departments coming up to me already saying, why are you guys considering spending this kind of money? And if firefighters in both sides of town aren't completely on board with it, where are the taxpayers going to be? And until we have a committee meeting and go farther with it, that's all I'll say about it at this point. But thank you.
Nick or Brian, anything? Yeah, I'm just going to give you my iPad. It's easier than.
The only, like, I agree with Rich, the only thing we need to know the need, but I think the only problem is the Hudson to Snyder's Lake are 2 different things. The boat launches out at Snyder's Lake are terrible. I'm lucky enough to join early enough that I had the experience with the pontoon boat trying to get it in and out of the lake out there, and it's a nightmare. I own a pontoon boat myself, and I've been in some crazy boat launches, so I know that's gonna be the terrible point of trying to figure out the boat is where it actually fits and easily deployable and where we can use it. You know, if the Hudson is a different type of body of water. Besides that, I mean, I agree with you. I think we need to look into this more. It's not going to be cheap, and I understand where Dave's coming from, because it takes one person slips in the lake and we don't show up, and that's going to be it. Why don't we do something ahead of time?
If you want to skip past it down, Brian.
I agree. I mean, the RDC for ice water rescue is something that Wyansville Fire Department is already doing. They're trained to do it. I don't have an issue with that part of the purchase at all. You do need something. It does work. You trained with it. Yes, it could have come in handy that 2 nights after the last meeting, which timing's always ironic, I guess. But no, I agree that you really need it beyond. I mean, if you get the boat for ice water rescue, my fear, and I know I mentioned to the chiefs and some other people that night and over the course of the past month, one of the biggest things I saw that night is the other stuff, the equipment, the training. The guys and girls that night did great work. But we need to really look at what we're doing with it. If we're talking flood rescues, guys and girls in ice water rescue suits, not even close to safe. You really got to look at the equipment and do some basic training and stuff. And like Nick brought up with the thing with the Hudson River, all different bodies of water. That's why this feasibility/needs analysis group really needs to sharpen the pencil, really come down with what are we really doing or wanting to do. How much you rely on Troy or whatever. That night, Averill Park came out with their boat. Didn't work. Water was too rapid. They took out a fence and left. Melrose couldn't put the water in, it was too shallow. So we really got to look at the threats, so to speak. What are we really looking to do? Again, the boat itself, this RDC, I have no problem with approving that. It's something they're doing right now. It's a need. It's something they train to do. We have, to me, the odds of using it for an ice water rescue are far greater than just about any other incident in town. We get people ice fishing all the time on the lake. So something happening there to me is a bigger threat, but really looking at all the other stuff, I think we got to kind of slow it down a bit here. The guys at night, life jackets, that comes before a boat. Water suits, not ice water rescue suits, so that you're just going to drown your firefighters. We got to look at the equipment before we go forward with the other bodies of water types. And that's why, it's very important to me that the committees meet and really sit down. And again, I know I'm not on the committee, but from the unique spot where I work, I'm more than willing to help out with whatever I can. I sent Chief Burkhart, and they can share with the committee when there is a meeting, different equipment that different water type rescue groups use. If you're looking flood water, here's equipment that you really should have. If you're looking swift water, here's what you really should have. So again, I'm willing to help with whatever. But as far as the RDC, I don't have an issue with proving that right now. So.
Dave, I am going to turn it back over to you in a minute. It's kind of thank you for the clarification that these are two separate.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't want to call them issues. So on the ice rescue thing, it's due to the purchase price, 3 written quotes are required. We only have 1, so we really can't take action on that tonight anyway. But I think the goal should be. So I think the goal should be by the next meeting, have the other 2 quotes. And I think really, even though they're 2 separate issues, I think just when you present this, why this one, what else do you need as far as for the ice rescue piece? Is there going to be any training that's involved? And just submit everything as one whole package for the ice rescue. I think what I'm hearing from the board is everybody's supportive of this. We just want to make sure that we get what we need and we do it right. But in order to be in compliance with our procurement policy, we need 3 quotes, and we don't have this. Give me 1 second, William. And then I think as far as the other boat, I think the general consensus of the board is we agree with you, Dave, that something is needed. And again, I just think we really want to do our homework and make sure we don't leave any stone unturned, but we also have the proper documentation and rationale so that we're confident in that purchase. And I think we were supposed to look at budgeting money this year, but we're right at our budget time, so I think we kind of forecast that of how much additional we're gonna need for next year. So if we do go, if we're in a position come early winter or early spring to pull the trigger and make this purchase, so we have it in time for next season, the funds are there. So I would get together the committee that was appointed in October, and I honestly didn't even remember that, Rich, so thank you for looking at that, but I would get together that committee, and if you have other folks over there at Wine and Skill that have been helping, don't exclude them. They can certainly be involved, and if we're looking to add, anybody else, because this is really gonna be, we're not buying two boats, this is gonna be one boat district-wide, so if you think we need a couple people from over here, that's fine, I'll leave that up to you guys. But I think you can convey the message, and commissioners, speak up if I'm wrong, that we're supportive of this. We just want to make sure that we're getting the right thing and what we need.
I agree. But just to remind everybody, this has been going on for over a year already. So it wasn't something that was just thrown together in a short stint. We've been looking and researching to find out what the best possible plan is. We're at this point. We're not looking to purchase anything yet, but I think that I would like to see something in place by spring. To look towards that. But again, there's more to it.
But I don't disagree. You said we've been doing this for a year. You may know that, your committee may know that. We've had really no reports or updates here on this end.
Other than we have discussed on the idea of looking at the property at the lake that was brought up. We did bring it up last budget meeting about budgeting money for it. So it has been addressed.
That was a year ago, but I mean, there hasn't been much in the last 12 months. I mean, the last budget meeting was basically 12
with
months ago.
COVID and everything going on, everything's been laying back here too.
Correct, but I don't want it presented to district members that this board has been dragging their feet for a year on the purchase of the boat, because this has not been an active discussion at the board.
Nobody's saying that they've been dragging their feet on it. I mean, it was just a matter of that we were putting it together. The only thing people got upset about was that a purchase order arrived and we didn't have our explanation for all that, why the ice rescue equipment. So that's why that went across.
All right, so this is a totally separate thing. So we'll get the other quotes.
That's fine.
The two quotes. I think we'll look at approving that after we get the two quotes, so we're in compliance with it. As far as I think we need the big boat.
Rapid deployment craft. The ice rescue tool is not a boat.
All right.
Rapid deployment craft.
All right, so the rapid deployment craft will take action on next month when we have the appropriate quotes. So we need two more. Think of anything else you might need, chief, and we'll approve it all at once. Even if there's training classes or whatever. All right, but maybe you want to send people to a class or bring an instructor in. We'll get what you need. As far as the boat, Dave, get the committee together, and I think for next month, have some type of formal report of where you're at, what you've done to date, and where you think you might be going. But I think we do need a boat. We got a lake, we got a river. I think you brought up good points about retention ponds. We just want to make sure we buy what's needed. And we don't want to be in a situation where we just put a dollar amount on it and maybe we're not spending enough. We want to spend what we need.
Oh, I agree, but I
comments?
really don't think it's much more it shouldn't be a 4-year plan. It should be a fairly easy purchase to put it together and come up with something.
Well, present something.
Yeah, we'll present it again.
Yeah, we just haven't been given anything to even consider. Go ahead.
David, I think you're missing my point, David. I don't want you to think personally. We don't need a purchase plan right now. We need a plan. And then from the plan, we'll evolve the proper purchase plan. And that's the only point I'm trying to make. And this was the same thing we did with the apparatus. We decided what the need was, and we battered that back and forth.
I understand that, Rich. I understand that. We'll take care of that.
We put together a purchase plan based on the needs analysis. And when I got guys, and David, I'm not blowing smoke here. When I got guys on both sides of town asking me, why are we considering this? And I gotta say, I'm not completely sure. I got some good ideas why, but I'm not completely sure. And that's gotta be my truthful answer at this point. Then that doesn't sell it very well with them, and it's not gonna sell it with the taxpayers. So please don't frame or think that I'm against this thing. I just wanna make sure that we're on the right ground with it. That's all.
That's fine.
All right. Go ahead, Dave. You're on mute.
Nope, I'm all set.
All right, and I think a timeline of being able to make a purchase by spring is reasonable. All right, William.
I just have a quick comment. So this is something that the chiefs also talked about at the beginning of the year, so this isn't like something that's
Right.
just came out of nowhere with us too. It's something that does have, this device does have.
Which are you talking about? The
The water rescue device that is proposed tonight.
So we're talking about the rapid deployment craft. Okay.
Is fully backed by the chiefs and the officers, of the Bristol Fire Department.
Yep.
So I just want to make sure that's clear. Know that there's members coming up to commissioners with problems or whatever. I don't have a problem with that, but I'm not hearing it back from my members, so it's hard to represent my department. I'm not having those members get told, tell the chief, because that's kind of surprising me right now to hear that several different times of people are coming to me, well, I need to know what my members feel too. So I'm just.
All right. Well, I think we're all in favor of the rapid deployment craft as well. We just don't have, you need 3 quotes. Purchase between $3,000 and $19,000, you need 3 quotes. We've got 1. So we'll take action on it next month, along with anything else that you need related to it. And I think the clear message tonight is nobody disagrees that we need a boat to properly protect the bodies of water in town. We just want to make sure we have a plan and we're buying the right equipment. So if you guys can get that group together before the next meeting to at least just give us an update, that would be good. All right. Anything else on apparatus needs and equipment?
Yeah.
Can you hear Rich when he's speaking?
Yes, I can hear him.
All right, I got a couple things with regard to truck 42's repair. The turntable swivel work is all completely done. They found nothing outside of the scope of what was originally proposed. There were no hydraulic problems or other problems in there that surprised them or anything else. I had talked to Bob about, us going down there and laying eyes on it while it was all apart and, getting a good feel for how the stuff looked and all. And the vendor assured Bob that wasn't necessary because they give us 100% that anything that you can see when it's apart, you can see when it's back together with regard to hydraulics. It's not like it's this sealed up chamber that, it's going to cost us $10,000 to take the lid off it so we can see what the problem is. And so if a leak develops some other point, they didn't see anything that looked obviously bad. So, but if they said if the leak's going to develop some other point, that a leak develops, you fix it. It's not a big deal. They do those things all the time. So turntable and swivel were done. The brake work that was identified in Wine and Skill that then went to Garrison, and then Garrison made the determination that they couldn't fix it there and it had to go elsewhere. The company that had the truck, what's the name? Fireline. Thank you, Fireline. Fireline was able to complete the brake repair. So the brake repairs are good. We asked them also, while they had it all there, had it apart, and we're doing everything to it, to do the annual pump test to it, because we had a couple of them done here, and Garrison hadn't been able to do it while he had it. And the same thing I said last month is that we make the determination whether a truck passes or fails the pump test, but they were unable to complete the pump test. And the reason that they were unable to complete the pump test was because it overheated. And when they get in an overheat situation, rather than try and force it and or anything, they shut it down. They don't want to burn anything up. They don't want to cause any damage. They don't want to cause any problems. Since then, they found that the radiator is in need of replacement. The radiator, thermostats, basically the cooling system needs to have some work done to it. Best of my knowledge, this is the first major work we've done on the cooling system on that thing since we've had it. You know, you can't just flush these radiators and have them come out right. We'll have to get the radiator replacement. As soon as Bob tossed that at me, I'm thinking it's going to cost us $8,000, and they came back with a price of $5,500 for the radiator, another $400 for the pump test. They got a question.
The radiator was done here 3-4 years ago.
I don't know. Was it?
Yeah, that was truck 42 was parked.
Just marked here for a while.
Was that with the radiator was done there? I thought that was transmission work. I thought it was transmission work because it was I thought it was transmission fluid that stained the floor. So if the was the radiator completely rebuilt? Was it redone? What was that? We'll have to go back on the records and look. Bob's shaking his head and making notes. So
That is curious. Some stuff carried a longer warranty, so.
yeah,
it might be just- Yeah, I remember it was here.
I remember the floor thing. I thought that was transmission fluid, not radiator fluid that caused that. But it might have been. Boy, if that's a new radiator and it's not getting enough cooling to pass the pump test, now we gotta look at it. You know, we gotta figure out, you know, what our thought is on it. But we'll have them take a look at it. Any thoughts from anybody on that? Good point, Nick. So that's what I got on the apparatus. Well, they're looking to do something with the radiator.
This, and just in case we find that radiator needs to be done anyways, so we don't wait on one for two tests.
That's not a bad idea.
So,
Make resolution to approve the replacement if we find that the one that was done a year ago in the warranty. It's not waiting on one.
I'll say.
roll call.
Rich.
Aye.
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 Brian. Aye.
Other things related to apparatus. I mentioned that the 9/7 goes out of here. Hopefully sometime early next week. Still no bites. No. I haven't put a lot more effort into it. I won't say any effort, some effort. I have not spent a lot of time working on getting rid of 427 this week. This last couple of weeks, just no time. So I'm going to get with Bob on it, see if he can take some of that. And, you know, there's not a lot of demand for that kind of apparatus right now. Not a lot of demand. That's all I can. In talking to the vendors and talking to people, and anybody that wants something like that doesn't have the money to spend on it. That's what we saw with Potter Kill. I had to think of the name of the fire department. They offered us, I believe, 10 for 427. They unofficially offered us that. I said, I'm not even going to embarrass you or our membership by taking that formally to the board. They were able to get the twin to the truck that Pleasantdale is replacing with 9/7. They were able to get the twin. That was one of two that were bought at the same time. They were able to get the twin to that for $5,000. So their Potter Kill is now happy. But they're, used apparatus. There is not a huge marketplace out there, and I think both Weiningscale and DeFriesel have seen that over the last few times they've tried to sell used fire trucks. Everybody goes into these things with these expectations. Oh, we're going to get $1 million for that thing. That's a tremendous truck. We'll get $50,000 for that. We'll get $100,000 for it. I can see Terry rolling his eyes. It just doesn't happen when the time comes. You wind up selling it to a broker for $3,000, and he ships it off to Venezuela or something. We'll keep plugging at it, but don't forget when the truck comes back, we're going to have 426 to get rid of too. So it's we're going to have two trucks to surplus. So that's all I got on apparatus. Unless Dave has something. Dave, you got anything?
No, just keep in mind here about the utility 9 down the road.
Yeah.
We'll have to start planning on that, and then we'll take a look at where we sit with all the apparatus.
If you recall, I don't have it in front of me to read it to you verbatim. If you recall the apparatus plan, the big trucks are on a 20-year look-at cycle. The smaller ones are on I want to say a 15-year look-at cycle, but with the provision that we know that we're going to get, and especially like Chiefs cars, some we know we're going to get more out of than others. And considering that was a Chiefs car for several years before it became a utility vehicle, I think that the Frisco Fire Company first, and now the Board of Fire District, or the Board of Fire Commissioners, Fire District, has gotten their money's worth out of utility nine. But
The one is at the point right now where they were having difficulty finding parts. Truck sat up on out in the parking lot for 4 or 5 days waiting for parts to come in for that truck.
I drove it back and forth to Schenectady 3 or 4 times there last month for a class that Bart and I were taking together. And that truck scared me a little bit driving it. So, and now I know they've had the brakes fixed since then, but that truck scared me driving it. So,
You bought that when you were chief the second time, right?
no. Yeah. Okay.
The pickup. Yeah. And I remember speaking against it at the meeting, thinking it's not a good idea to be purchasing a pickup truck for a Chiefs car. So I just like that noted that it did turn, I was correct, and it did turn into a utility vehicle. But I,
Chiefs car though for a number of years.
yeah, I just had to get that in, sorry. All right. Let's see, buildings and grounds, Dave and Brian. Dave.
Joe gave his report. We're moving along on that. The trees, the blacktop was sealed. The only thing I can think of right now is maybe next spring is to seal the lower parking lot and work with the ambulance on that because they wanted to do it at the same time. Other than that, we'll wait to see the report comes back from the engineers. Brian, you got anything?
No, just the same thing, see what happens with the engineers on the window tanning. I wouldn't focus too much on price. One thing to look at is product and duration, warranty also. It's been a good month. I want to thank God for all the behind the scenes work he does on stations. It's an appreciation for that.
All right. Thank you. District personnel. It's me and Brian. I don't really know where this would fall under. But as you saw in the news today, they're going to be authorizing booster shots for all Americans. But I'm asking William, maybe you could look into this. No, they're going to, as you probably heard in the news, they're going to be authorizing booster shots for all Americans 8 months out. And I believe just about district wide, we all got our second shot in January. So come September, right when this opens up, we're all going to be eligible. And maybe you could just talk to Jason. Is it going to be the type of thing that, something's organized through Albany Med? Is it you just call a pharmacy on your own? But is it?
Yeah, it's also on the news tonight, actually from down here in Rensselaer County, they had a thing on the TV. Apparently, they've already authorized starting tomorrow's a clinic at Joe Bruno Stadium for immunocompromised, whatever.
Okay.
To give booster shots. So it looks like the county health departments are the ones that coordinate this as opposed to the state.
All right.
Or Rensselaer County DOH, their equivalent is.
From what I gathered, and I try to pay attention to it too, because I know my 8 months is coming up, and I also plan on traveling that early October, so I wanted to say, okay, I'm going out of the country in October, where's that gonna happen with me personally? And the one thing I picked up on a couple different sources is the big difference between now and last January, when they were trying to get the shot, late December, early January, they were trying to get the shots out. Then nobody knew how many the state was even gonna get out there. Right now, there's more vaccine out there than they can use. So supply is not going to be the issue this time. So that was the crisis, if you will, back in the winter was supply, and that crisis doesn't exist now.
All right. Well, anyway, what's that?
Just on Jason.
Yeah, so just something to, we don't want to start thinking about it mid-September. We want to, is it fend for yourself or is there going to be some kind of a plan? All right. I don't have anything else. Do you? All right. Finance, insurance, long range planning. I don't have anything. Nick, do you? Sean?
Yes.
I was going to call on you. I just go with the board first.
So all the discussion about purchases and so forth. The nature kind of my business is kind of simple. We're just busy around the time of the meeting, the week before, or the week after. So I was hoping that in the future, any purchases or proposed purchases, that paperwork is given to Bob like a week prior to the meeting. So he has time.
That's what the policy says.
Well, that was part of the issue last month with that night with the game with the voucher. We really got to get back that Saturday.
So I just want to
The bigger
back
stuff.
on track with cigarette purchases and it's going on a little bit of fire prevention. So forth, just so we have time to
Well-
do the work that is necessary.
I don't disagree. So I think we just have to stick to kind of like we had a clamp down on the whole, remember with all the new members, we didn't have the paperwork and we were approving pending receipt of whatever. And finally we got to a point where it's not all here. We don't take action. And it was a rough couple months, but the message got through. So I think any purchases, a firm deadline, and if they're not in hand, they're not going to get acted on unless it's something of an emergency nature. Obvious, if it's an emergency nature, that's different, but if it's something that can wait, you got to meet the deadline. And maybe you could send out an email, like a reminder, hey, the cutoff date for September is whatever that is.
Historically, we would start September's meeting a half hour early, so we could have a budget workshop. Monday, September 13th, we start at 6:30, and I will send Dan and Nick the information that I've collected so far, because you do around finance, insurance.
So let me just explain to Nick. So typically what we do to save time, Sean kind of comes up with a rough budget. And then the commissioners are on that committee, which is me and you. We kind of review it, ask questions, maybe we tweak it a little bit. And then we bring it up to the whole board and then it gets looked at again and tweaked, but it just kind of like a little legwork in advance just saves time later.
Pre-draft approval.
But changes are made. So I mean, people's, it's not like what we decide is set in stone, but it just makes the process more efficient. Do you think it's worked out pretty well?
Yeah, that's great. So we would need a motion if we can start a half hour early in September. While we're on the budget, I don't know, Bob and I are kind of like dumbfounded by this. Guys, ask your seatbelt. You ready? Last year's tax roll assessment was 348,291,000. I'm dropping off. Okay, 348 million. This year's final roll, 343 million. So the assessed value for the town, for the fire district, has decreased by $5 million. The exemption amount has increased by $5 million. And then the other thing that's kind of confusing is the number of parcels have only increased by 5. So I did send an email. Last month I sent an email out to Jenna Harper because there was an issue with the Freesville property being not that's not correct, the property that was sold, not being ratified. But John was out at back surgery, so he hasn't been anywhere. So I did send off an email to town controller Tony, who usually helps me out with budget information. They asked if this is really the correct. That's a decrease by $19,000 tax rate. Right? So just something to think about.
Sean, on that, back in June, Mark sent me an email. I assume he also gave it to you about, you just touched on the old DeFreeseville Firehouse the vacant house next to the firehouse, Valley View Boulevard, and the house that's gotten a well bought, that they were all still listed as tax exempt. So,
And that's what I said in the email.
okay,
I just haven't heard back. The reason I haven't heard back is John had back surgery that's not been in the office.
okay,
John Hartman assessor. So I'm still kind of waiting on that.
okay,
But I think this is all gonna come to a head here. Because
right.
we have this big decrease. So I just want to keep you apprised as to that.
Probably the ones that we kick their heels in and, make it noise about it will be the school board.
Yeah.
The school board start losing money though.
Yeah.
That'll impact them more than us.
And one other thing that I need to action on tonight is I would like to, right, I need to, not really, I have to add a Durivage to the Key Bank Navigator online feature. Historically, when we paid our interest in principal on the bonds, there was a department that worked for the Key Bank and they would make the wire transfer. Well, they don't do that. So I have to do it now, like right from the site, which is fine, but there has to be two of us that like sign them off on that wire transfer, just so I can send it to my account in Teams. You know? So I need to have a, I guess, resolution to Bob to have access to the Key Navigator, the online banking service.
All right, so first resolution is, or motion is to change the start time of the September meeting to 6:30. I'll entertain a motion made by Brian, seconded by Rich. All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That carries. Entertain a resolution to add Bob Durivage, who is our deputy secretary treasurer, as a, what was it again?
Gain access to the Key Navigator
All right.
online banking.
Nick makes the resolution.
I'll make the second.
All right, Dave second. Roll call.
Rich,
Aye.
Aye.
Brian? Aye. Dave?
Aye.
All right. Resolution carries. Okay. Policies, procedures, membership. I'm gonna hand this membership application over to Brian and Nick, but William, why don't you give an update on the firefighter from Delanson?
Name's Justin Calucci, like I said, he comes over from the Lansing Fire Department, he was a member there for 4 years. He's moving into the Hudson Valley Community College, those new dorm apartments that built where the old church was, I can't, it's on Morrison Avenue, I can't.
Yeah.
All those things. But he's gonna be in there. He's an exterior firefighter only, but anybody that comes help, I don't mind, so. He's a member in good standing at Delanson. Chief said he'd be fine here, so don't have any issues. Just gonna need obviously the paperwork, so I can just have him sign, the chief sign, and chairman of the board sign. Sign it off, so.
All right, Terry, do we, I know you worked on the draft. Does the board have to vote on that?
Yeah.
Bob, is that in the Dropbox?
It is.
Just,
It's under DFT chief's report,
let me just,
the Word document, it's MOU.
all right. It's on my phone, it's a little harder to navigate.
That's an hard copy.
Thanks. All right. I mean, I already read it because Terry sent it out to me for review, but does anybody else want to review it? Does anybody else need the hard copy? All right, entertain a motion to, well, first of all, any questions for the chief or Terry on this? All right, entertain a motion to approve Justin Calucci as a writing member. Made by Brian. Yeah, second by Nick, all's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that carries. One of you guys want to present Sarah?
Sarah Rothbury. She's from, she wants to, seems like do the same thing. just ride when she's in the area. She's from Manchester, right? I'm reading this right, she's from Manchester, Connecticut. She just wants to ride when she's
Yeah, she's
here.
up here half the time, so she's a firefighter down there, she has. But their version state class down there.
So I'm just confused. So why wouldn't she follow the same process that we're doing for?
Because she was out of state.
The mutual aid thing is for in-state, to
Okay,
keep people from joining two fire departments within the same state. And so she's out of state, so she can be a member.
She was a member in 2020, the Freestone Fall.
okay, all right. No, I just didn't understand the two-state thing. All right, that's fine.
I think Terry mentioned something to do with workers' comp laws. So you double check.
Let's see, a member of a fire company of another state. Right in the area. Right, such company is authorized to sell service by the government bodies.
Dave, Terry's looking something up just to.
No, I can hear you.
So you 3 hours behind out there?
Yep. It's 5, quarter of 5. 97 degrees.
Ah,
Maybe you sent the Bob, you sent him, I know I saw that just, that highlighted the things that it was the same exact approval process as a in-state, it's just, it had a different provision under the GML. Oh, you sent it to Bob Moon. You sent it to Bob Moon. Around the last meeting. Bob, I know. If the guidance requested. Jason.
I missed it. I was at its report.
45,
Before it gets mixed in.
Do you want to? Okay, you said it was a process. Starts spread with Jason. Okay.
well, Terry's looking that up. I just want to give just kind of an FYI to the board. That Carl Ublacker, that name might sound familiar. He is with the, he works for the state. He helped us out with the shared municipal services grant for the merger. So our merger still is having a pretty big impact on the state, and he had reached out to me. We're known as the North Greenbush Plan. There's some fire districts and I think protection districts down in Marbletown, New York, that are looking at merging, and they're stumped on LoSAP. And Carl reached out to me to ask how we resolve that. So I basically summarized it for him and told him he could give anybody my contact information. So I got a call from a Paul Bishop who works for Promising Solutions out in Rochester, who's consulting with them. And I answered all his questions. And then I also suggested that they get attorneys that really, this is their area of expertise. And I passed on your name, Terry. So I don't know if he ever reached out to you.
Yeah, I have.
You already had them?
Yeah.
So why are they asking me that?
I just signed them up last week. They were supposed to do something a couple of months ago, and it was, basically the fire district.
Oh, well, anyway.
No, I always offer your services, Chairman.
But why would they be reaching out to me if their own attorney's an expert in that area?
They didn't talk to me about it, so.
All right, well, anyway.
Yeah, I sent it to you. Yeah, I said, yeah, that's the same section. Yeah. Okay, pleased to say I took care of that on July 12th, although I have no present recollection. Yeah, on a application, to whether it's the state local requirements for active members. Yeah. All right.
All right, so what are we on the right path here? Where are we?
I just have one question for the chief. Can I remember looking at this? I don't know if that's all their training records. I know some of the application says firefighter one, but that certificate's missing, so.
Yeah,
I'm not sure you get that certificate before. Okay.
yeah, I got a stack here, so.
All right, yeah, no, it's, I mean. All
right, so make the motion.
I'll make the motion. There. Rothbury. Membership.
All right, motion made by Nick, second by Brian, all's in favor? Aye.
Excuse me, Dan.
Yep.
So, but we're gonna need to do that MOU for her as well, is that correct? Yeah, so I can, yeah, if we'll be able to gin that up within the next couple of days. Obviously,
All right.
you probably-
Well, why don't we have that motion also including authorizing me to sign the memorandum of agreement upon completion? Do you amend your motion?
Yes.
Okay. You got that?
Yeah.
All right. Just so we're not delaying another
Yeah,
month.
we can have it.
Yeah. All right. LoSAP, Nick and Brian.
I signed some paperwork for two members, one of Limesville, one of DeFreesville, to start receiving their benefits, and then I signed paperwork for death benefits for Ronald Wilson. So that's all I have on that.
All right.
Dan,
Business operation. Yeah. go
PJ's
ahead,
got his
Dave.
hand up.
Oh, PJ, sorry, I didn't see it.
sorry, I have to sign off. I have to have a procedure done. So, is Sarah voted in with, I heard something about a document. She got
So-
something, got to sign or?
No, so there's got to be a memorandum of agreement between our fire district and our home fire district. Terry's just got some boilerplate language. So he'll draft that up and I'll sign it, and the fire company down there will sign it.
Oh, okay.
We pre-authorized it, so we're not delaying until the next month.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I gotta,
Yep, and thank you for joining us. It's good to see you.
9 o'clock, I gotta have a respiratory thing done, so the girl's waiting for me. So I gotta sign off. Thank you.
All right, good luck, PJ.
Thanks. Yep, bye-bye.
All right, business operations and technology, just the iPads, which we're holding off on for now for that first net or whatever, right?
Yes, one thing to note, I don't know, Dr. Biden, tonight I went to print from the computer in the radio room, and every printer that I tried to print to it, they told me it needed an updated driver. So I think the next time that they're in, if they can take a look and see what the problem is.
Nick, you got anything? Development plan review, Brian and Nick. No good stuff?
No good stuff. I mean, I know Chief's been dealing with the traffic nightmare, but beyond that, nothing new.
Did everybody get a copy of that thing that Mark sent out? I don't know who he CC'd on the board.
What was
He
it?
CC'd me in my zoning context, I think, but I don't know who he CC'd on the board. There was an article in the.
Oh, the business review? I got that.
That basically showed that most communities in the greater capital district, with the exception of Clifton Park, Saratoga, Clifton Park, after that cluster up there, Boston Spa, were pretty flat in growth. The only community in Rensselaer County that had double-digit growth was North Greenbush, and we were up by better than 1,300 people.
1,200, we were up 1,217 people, it was a 10.08% increase.
Yeah, so pretty significant, and that was rattling around in the back of the head when you said the tax rolls went down. It's like, what's going on here? So it just, but it is something worth noting that we're seeing a lot of growth impact over here. So just keep that rattle in the back of your head.
So you're waiting to follow up with John Harkin then?
Yes, and or Tony. I actually just want, I don't know if it falls under this, but I sent you an email about the Mike Lashman sent an email. He was on this.
Oh, that, yeah.
I don't know if he was there as an official district representative, but looks like Mary France Sable and Snow. There's a committee that the town has. I think we previously staffed it. Mike didn't know if he wanted one of us to go back and go on that or not.
Yes, so Brian had reached out to me. I think it's good that we have representation, and I don't know that Mike was on as a fire district member or just as a resident.
I wasn't sure.
But I said, I think it would be appropriate for Brian or Nick if they want to, one of them wants to go or somebody can't make it. I didn't think it would probably be wise for Rich or Dave since you're on the town boards, the planning board and the zoning board. So I don't think we need to take any formal action,
Right, nice.
but I think one of you show up, or both of you, it doesn't matter, but just so we know what's going on. So,
I just didn't know if it was official district or not, so that's fine.
well, why don't you find out? I don't think they probably know the answer, but we should have our nose in it. So nothing else. All right. Fire medic operations, Richard Dave.
Not exactly operations, but in the lull that occurred there, Sean ran out and found a invoice that on December 15th, 2016, we paid Garrison Fire and Rescue $5,495.76. For some reason, $60 less than the invoice. We disputed a fuel surcharge or something. But we paid them $5,495.76 for a replacement radiator. Found radiator leaking, coolant fan damaged. Correction was remove radiator, identify order replacement, return and install new radiator and cooling fan assembly. Refill radiator cooling system test operation, found radiator cap leaking, replace retested system, no leaks. So based on what Bob had told me and his discussions with the other company, I don't know, Fireline, thank you. I don't know why I can't remember their name. Boy, I got my fingers crossed, hoping it's one of those thermostats. But here's that paperwork, so you might want to reference it when you're talking to both them and Garrison, if we gotta follow up with them. But that's 2016, that's only 6 years ago, not even 6 years ago. That radiator should have lasted longer than that. And not that we were told the radiator was bad, we were told the cooling system was bad. I didn't have anything under paramedic operations that wasn't covered by other discussion we've had tonight.
All right. That brings us to the end of the agenda. To any public session? Anybody have anything else?
I think, I lost my connection to the power, I think David wanted to go to executive session.
Did you have a need to go to executive session?
No, I think the part of the problem was resolved earlier. And I'll talk to Mark later on and stuff on it. But there was nothing,
All right.
nothing that we have right now.
All right. Entertain a motion to adjourn. Do you, Bob, anything public session, did you say? Nothing? All right. Entertain a motion to adjourn. Made by Rich. Second by Nick. All's in favor? Aye. Thank you, Dave.
Aye.
Have fun out there.
Yep.
Congrats.
Thank you. Take care.
Anytime this morning.